Hello, my friends. Today we'll discuss some serious developments, Russian advances, and Taras Chmut's comments on whether Ukraine is winning or losing. Are we winning or losing? Let's look at the numbers. The editorial team at Militarny, based on public and open information, analyzed the changes on the front lines over the past year. The key figure: Ukraine has lost around 3,600 square kilometers of territory across all directions: Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, Donetsk, Luhansk, and Kharkiv regions. Is that a lot? Everyone can decide for themselves. For example, in 2023, we lost around 540 square kilometers, but liberated around 430 square kilometers. On the other hand, this year we conducted a lightning operation in the Kursk region, taking control of approximately 1,100 square kilometers, out of which we still hold 460 square kilometers. But for me, the saddest part of these figures is the increasing pace of Russian offensives. In June, Russia advanced 100 square kilometers per month, or 3.4 square kilometers daily. By September, it escalated to 400 square kilometers per month, or 13.4 square kilometers daily, peaking in November at 610 square kilometers per month, or 20.3 square kilometers daily. Think about it. We're losing 20 square kilometers of our land every single day. Of course, this comes at a tremendous cost to Russia in terms of equipment, ammunition, and personnel, with casualty rates comparable to World War II on some fronts. Yet, the Russians continue to push forward. This indicates that liberating all Ukrainian territories and returning to the 1991 borders is no longer feasible, a reality even President Zelensky acknowledges. The sooner the war ends, the fewer territories Ukraine will lose. Diplomatic efforts to regain lost territories would likely take decades if they succeed at all. So, is Ukraine heading toward victory or defeat? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Meanwhile, today we are hearing about potential meetings between Scholz, Trump, and Putin. Details emerged about when meetings between Scholz and Trump with Putin might take place. A security representative from Germany's main opposition party, CDU, Roderick Kiesewetter, sees signs that Chancellor Olaf Scholz is preparing to meet with Putin before Germany's parliamentary elections on February 23rd. There are increasing indications that Scholz might travel to Moscow or meet Putin before February 23rd. For Ukraine, these plans could mean suspending the Paris Charter for 10-20 years. Kiesewetter also noted that we should be ready for surprises during the election campaign, mentioning that a meeting between Putin and Trump is approximately planned for March. Let everyone draw their own conclusions for this. But friends, I want to say this is most likely another round of speculative rumors. Any concrete plans for Trump to meet with Putin can only be discussed after his inauguration. Meanwhile, the situation on the front remains catastrophic. Let's start with the Pokrovsk direction, where Russian forces are already breaking through toward the village of Kotlin and attempting to establish a foothold. It seems that the Russians have managed to extend the front line right up to the highway. Now they advancing boldly, as even the recent counterattacks near the village of Shevchenko yielded success for only a day before Russian troops resumed their push forward. Unfortunately, they seem aware that the Ukrainian forces are currently unable to stop them. This has allowed them to stretch the front line rapidly, showing little concern for potential flanking attacks. In addition, they are actively assaulting Peshane, Zvirove, and on two fronts are breaking through to the outskirts of Pokrovsk. Meanwhile, the shelling of the city continues daily. Battles are also ongoing for the villages of Solone, Novovasilievka, and assaults are underway on Zelena and Lysivka. Ukrainian fighters report that if reinforcements are not sent to this direction, the collapse could be swift. The Russians are currently bombarding Pokrovsk and all communication routes leading to the city. Any heavy artillery preparation by the adversary is a sign of an impending major breakthrough. Without reinforcements, the defensive lines here could collapse quickly. However, ironically, the focus seems to be not on defending the city, but on urgently restoring a monumentum damaged by shelling. Friends, share your thoughts about this in the comments. Near Myrnohrad, fighting continues for the villages of Promень and Myrolubivka. After capturing Vozdvyzhenka, the Russians began advancing further toward the highway. With no villages in their immediate path, there is a high probability that the advance in this area could accelerate. They are also assaulting Baranivka, having already approached and entrenched themselves near the village. The situation here is also deteriorating. From a broader perspective, the Russian advance in this area significantly improves their positions in two directions. First, they are encircling Pokrovsk agglomeration, and second, they are gaining access to the rear of Kostiantynivka. If they manage to push further here, it will be a dire sign for the entire Donetsk region, and Ukrainian forces stress that reinforcements are urgently needed in this area to prevent disaster. East of Myrnohrad. After securing their positions in Vozdvyzhenka, the Russians have started moving northwest. Here, sabotage and reconnaissance groups are probing Ukrainian defenses. Ukrainian forces have spotted them approaching the strategic highway connecting Konstantinivka and Pokrovsk. Without reinforcements, the defensive lines here are at risk of rapid collapse. The Russians are heavily bombarding Pokrovsk and all communication routes, signaling preparation for a significant breakthrough. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces are nearing the completion of their operation. They have fully captured Kurakhove as well as the villages of Berestki, Stary Terny, and Ukrainka. Now they assaulting the villages of Zaporizhzhia, then Yasenove, Petropavlivka, and Shevchenko. They are breaking through from the village of Konstantinopolske and assaulting the village of Konstantinopol. This puts them only 8.5 kilometers from the outer front line here. So the Russians appear intent on linking up and reaching the border of the Donetsk region in the near future. The further plans of this group remain unclear. They might push into the Dnipropetrovsk region or be redeployed to reinforce the Pokrovsk area or Chasiv Yar. In any case, the situation is deeply troubling. In the Velika Novosilka direction, the Russians have temporarily halted the assault on the city. Attacks are currently concentrated only on the village of Novoocheretuvate, accompanied by heavy shelling in this area. It appears that the Russians are attempting to advance toward the border of the Donetsk region in this sector as well. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Russians continue to assault Novoandriivka and are conducting extensive shelling of frontline settlements. There is a possibility that they are preparing for a large-scale offensive, although no significant assaults have been reported so far. In the Kherson direction, Russian forces are attempting to advance onto the islands near Hola Pristan area. They are also shelling Antonivka. However, they haven't achieved any new successes as the Ukrainian forces continue to eliminate Russian troops attempting to cross to the islands daily in boats. Now moving to the Toretsk direction. The Russians are making gains here as well. They have captured another slag heap and the surrounding streets, and currently only the outskirts of Toretsk remain under Ukrainian forces' control. To provide a clearly picture, there are just 300 meters on one side and 700 meters on the other side, still controlled by Ukrainian forces. Essentially, the battle for Toretsk is nearing its conclusion. As for the village of Krymsk, the situation is similarly bleak, as the Russians are trying to extend the front line toward Dachne to create a partial encirclement of this area. Overall, Russian tactics remain unchanged, and unfortunately, effective resistance to their advances continues to be a significant challenge. In the Chasiv Yar direction, Russian forces are assaulting the villages of Stupochki and Pretechene, and they have made more advances in the northern part of Chasiv Yar. A closer look at the situation reveals that the Russians have nearly reached the railway station, further worsening the situation in this area. In the Siversk direction, the situation remains unchanged for now, though Russian forces continue the assaults on Bilogorivka and Rogorivka. In the Lyman direction, the situation has also begun to deteriorate. Russian forces have advanced significantly across the fields from Ivanivka, moving toward Zelena Dolyna, likely aiming to cut off one of the roads leading to Lyman. Their primary objective in this direction appears to be capturing Lyman. Meanwhile, the battles for Yampolivka continue, but Ukrainian forces are maintaining their defenses and the front line remains unchanged for now. In the Borova direction, the Russians are assaulting Boguslavka, and Russia's Minister of Defense has claimed full control of the village of Nadia, although Ukrainian forces managed to push them back from the fields. Further south, there are ongoing efforts to reclaim lost territory, with assaults reported near Chernyshina and Novosergiyevka. Additionally, fighting continues near the village of Makivka. Overall, Russian forces have maintained significant activity in this area for an extended period, as they persist in their attempts to reach Borova and Oskil reservoir at any cost. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian forces are once again attempting to escalate activity by assaulting Kucherivka and advancing through the fields toward Petropavlivka, although battles for this village had previously been reported. They are also conducting shelling in this area, but no significant changes to the front line have been occurred in the past day. In the Dvorichna direction, Russian forces haven't launched new assaults and the situation remains unchanged. In the Kharkiv direction, there are no new offensive actions by Russian forces, and the front line has remained stable over the past day. In Vovchansk, Russian forces continue the assaults but haven't achieved success, with the front line also unchanged. In the Kursk direction, the situation currently favors the Ukrainian forces. Despite ongoing Russian attacks, the Ukrainian forces have regained control of one settlement. Over the past day, the front line has remained stable, and the outcome of the situation in the Kursk region is still awaited. Meanwhile, there are 16 days left until the inauguration of Donald Trump. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.